The last day of summer, chapter 23, Not a Mannequin Challenge. She'd said, "We're not worried about snacks, Petey." "I'm a little hungry," Otto said. She'd ignored Otto and in an uncharacteristic show of emotion threw himself at Petey, embracing him. "Good to see you moving." Otto said, "How are you moving?" Not only that, why was he wearing a white lab coat like scientists wore on TV? The answers Otto deduced from the strange, cluttered basement. One wall was crowded with tacked-up plans and schematics. Another was piled high with tinkerer junk. The bench Timestar occupied was littered with snipped wires and tools and computer equipment. As she'd mentioned upstairs, they'd seen sights like this before in Lean Ellison's mad science workshop. "Petey," Otto tried hard not to let his surprise and confusion come off as insulting. "You're a genius?" Eyes low, no confidence, Petey shrugged. "Not really." He tossed aside what looked like a power screwdriver, only it didn't hit the ground. It wasn't time-stuck like they'd grown accustomed to. No, this tool sprouted propellers the moment it left Petey's hand and hovered to a designated spot on a nearby rack. Petey said, "Wire cutters to me." From that same tools rack, a pair of yellow-handled wire cutters hovered on their own propellers, floated just above Petey's waiting palm, and dropped into his hand. He turned his attention back to some project the boys could not see. She'd shouted, revving up a tantrum, "This is all so much weirder than our usual Logan messes. Somebody better explain stuff to us, or..." He grabbed what looked like a fire extinguisher and aimed the nozzle at Petey. "I'm going to lose it and foam this whole place up." Timestar tilted his head, watching Sheed's growing rage with amusement. Petey only spared him the mildest of glances. "I don't suggest you do that. That's not a fire extinguisher. It's a highly unstable explosive gel." She quickly and gently placed the canister on the ground. "You make explosives here?" "No," said Petey. "It really was a fire extinguisher. I just wanted to see you put it down." Timestar laughed. "Nice joke, Petey." Petey said, "It could have been better." All this was overwhelming, and this was a couple of boys who'd faced laughing locust swarms, ghosts, and werebears just in June. It took a lot to overwhelm them. She pointed at Timestar. "What are you doing here?" Then he pointed at Petey. "What are you doing here?" Petey, still fiddling, spoke with his back to them. "You should pick your questions more wisely. If you're precise, then I can disappoint you precisely. I'm sure I won't have answers you like." Otto said, "Start with how you got unfrozen. If you did it, maybe we can help other people get unstuck." "Negative," said Petey. Was he speaking of his general disposition or dismissing Otto's logic? Petey elaborated. "I can't help other people get unstuck because I was never stuck." She'd said, "Sure you were. We saw you frozen at the hardware store like Mr. Archie and Anna." "No, I was there, but only pretending to be frozen." "Why?" Otto and She'd said together. "Because when Mr. A and Anna did it, I thought it was a thing, like a mannequin challenge. I didn't want to mess it up." That required a moment of reflection. "When you saw us," Otto, wondering if Petey might be insane, said, "Why didn't you stop then?" "I didn't want anyone to know I'd been pretending. I didn't want anyone mad at me. That always sucks." Timestar spoke up. "Petey, it's like I've been trying to tell you. You're too hard on yourself. You worry too much about what other people think." "Easy for you to say. You've traversed time and space. Where you come from, I bet everybody thinks good stuff about you." Timestar flicked his eyes at the boys, changed the subject. "Well, why don't we help Otto and Sheed the best way we can, so you and I can get back to our confidential business?" Petey slumped, looking more defeated than usual. "We don't have any business, sir. I took a look at that device you brought me." Timestar leapt to Petey's side, attempting to cut him off. "We don't have to discuss the details. But I already told you there's no way I can fix it. It's too advanced. I don't understand one thing about it." Timestar's face flattened. His brow became shadowy and frustrated. "I thought we were clear on the confidential part of that conversation." Petey said, "Otto and Sheed won't tell your secret. Will you guys?" "We don't know his secret," Sheed said. "Dude, why are you really here? It seems highly convenient that a vacationing, time-traveling superhero accidentally shows up in Logan the same day time freezes. Ain't that right, Otto?" "My cousin makes a valid point, Timestar. There's a ton of weirdness in Logan County, but few coincidences." "Fellas," Timestar began. Then he juked left, grabbing his device from Petey and bolting for the door. Otto and Sheed were prepared for this. Otto threw himself in Time Star's path, curling up like a pill bug. When Time Star skidded to a stop, Sheed shoved him so he tripped over Otto and sprawled on the basement floor. The boys scrambled, set on him. He groaned beneath their weight, but didn't struggle otherwise. Maneuver number 19. Really, guys? Otto snatched the device from Time Star's hand. Be careful, Time Star warned. It was like metal, but not metal, not any kind Otto had ever seen. It was smooth, pentagonal, with 3 display windows that all blinked with numbers. Beneath the displays were embedded buttons. One side was a curved groove that Otto's thumb slid into naturally for a better fit. What is this, Petey? Otto asked. He says it's what allows him to time travel, but it's broken. He can't go home. She bounced on Time Star's back, making him oof. You aren't planning to leave until after you helped us, right, hero? Get off me, Sheed, Time Star yelled. You too, Otto. I'll explain what I can. The boys exchanged glances, came to a silent agreement, then let him up. Making sure to position themselves between him and the stairs, Otto kept a tight grip on his precious time travel device. Time Star rose, wincing, rotating his right shoulder so it made cracking sounds. You two are heavy. Explain, Sheed said. I messed up. I'm not supposed to be here. I may have made this day worse. He flopped on Petey's workbench. I may have made it so it can't be fixed. It was not the explanation Otto and Sheed were hoping for. Chapter 24, The Big Key. As I told you, Time Star continued, in the future we will all know about your adventures. You inspire us. Us? Sheed said. Like other heroes? Time Star's gaze softened. Yeah, Sheed, you especially. Otto bristled. Why him especially? Keep going. I maybe didn't tell you the whole truth, okay? It's not exactly legal for me to take this trip back to Logan. I shouldn't be here at all. Otto snatched his pad from his pocket, scribbled furiously, underlining key points. Entry number 72. Not telling the whole truth. Illegal trip back to Logan. Shouldn't be here at all. What else aren't you telling us, Time Star? Otto didn't sense any malice from the man, but his story still didn't seem complete. Otto wondered if she felt the same way, but suspected Time Star had won him over with that you especially silliness. Otto circled that part and added a question. Entry number 73. You, Sheed. Yeah, Sheed. You especially. Biggest lie of all? Likely. Sheed said, Otto, you're usually the one that deals with all the far-out stuff. If Time Star says we're all that in the future and people worship us, Time Star interjected. I said we're inspired by. Close enough. What are we worried about then? That means everything turns out okay. Shadows grew across Time Star's face. No, that's not what it means. According to the historical records, this was supposed to be one of your easiest adventures. Easier. You two stopped Mr. Flux back on Harkness Hill almost immediately. You barely got your hands dirty. How? Otto asked. He was going to use the camera on you, freeze the both of you the same way you froze Fry, but when he backed up to get the best shot, he tripped over a root, rolled down the hill with the camera. In the fall, the shutter got triggered with the camera angled at him, and he froze himself mid-tumble. He wouldn't tell you anything, but you went looking for help and came across AM and PM, who led you to the other clock watchers, who eventually led you to Witching Hour. That's how I knew to find her. Once she explained everything to you, you went back to Flux and tricked him into unfreezing himself, which unfroze everything else, but none of that ever happened because you appeared and prevented him from falling, said Otto. Time Star's face sagged. The reason these sorts of trips are outlawed by the Time Bureau is because people from the future should never change things about the past. He nodded at Otto's pad. It's important that you know that. Oh, Otto said and scribbled. Entry number 74. You shouldn't change things about the past. Time Star said, as you see, me dropping in the way I did changed things. Sheed bounced on his toes. You should have told us sooner. Sure, you changed what was supposed to happen, but now we know how to stop him. If we take his picture and freeze him, he'll have to reverse the whole thing. Otto reviewed his notes, bothered by something. Some deduction that eluded him. Still, Sheed made a good point. Yes, it stands to reason that the same tactic should work. Time Star shook his head. It's possible, but unlikely that you'll get your shot. Remember, in the original timeline, he took his own picture accidentally. How can you duplicate such a random event? He sure won't pose for you willingly. Thanks for those encouraging words, said she. It's really cool how you messed everything up, then tried to run back to your time. Time Star said, I thought if I got out of the way, you two would figure out this out on your own. I was never supposed to interfere, so the longer I'm here, the more things I might change." Otto, still puzzling over the day's note, said, "Why come to Petey? He doesn't believe it, and you may not either, but Petey's one of the best inventors on the planet. When it comes to brilliant technical minds in Logan County, it's him or Evangeline Ellison, right?" Otto took note of that, too. At least he didn't say, "Wiki, ugh." "But Petey, one of the Earth's most inventive minds, Petey?" She'd said, "Petey, why aren't you frozen?" He shrugged. "I suspect it has something to do with this." Petey unbuttoned his shirt and revealed some kind of glowing, heavily wired chest plate. "What is that?" Otto was suddenly worried their friend and longtime hardware clerk was a cyborg. "It's for my allergies." Petey buttoned his shirt again. "None of the nasal sprays or pills my doctor gave me were effective, so I built a temporal field generator that covers my entire body and shifts all allergens I come in contact with. Mold, pollen, ragweed, 2 seconds into my past. I haven't sneezed since I turned it on back in the spring. This whole basement's outfitted with a similar technology. My theory is it makes me and everything in this room immune to time anomalies." "Okay, that's what I'm talking about, Petey." Time Star gripped the genius's shoulders. "You can send your sneezes into the past. You do know something about time travel." Bashful, Petey didn't bother denying the things Time Star said he was capable of. He simply pulled away and sat in the corner. Otto flipped back to the previous notes, to Mr. Flux's mention of Peter. "I don't know about time travel or your inventions, but I do know you're connected to Mr. Flux somehow. Witching Hour told us he was created in a terrible moment of missed opportunity. I think that moment has something to do with Donnie O'Dole and the Lincoln play from when you were in high school. Do you remember it?" Otto retrieved the yearbook from his backpack and showed Petey the old drama club photo. "How do you know about that?" Petey's cheeks blazed, and he returned to his workbench, sniffling, not from the allergies. "You're the legendary Austin boys. Of course you found out about that stupid play. That's when I learned my place, fellas. Please leave me alone." She joined Otto. "Petey, we could really use you right now. You'd be helping us out, like at the hardware store." Petey didn't budge, so the boys went over to him. As they stood to either side of him, they spotted the wallet-sized photo of a beaming Anna Archie pinned to a board above his workspace. Otto nudged Sheed and pointed. Sheed smirked. Petey liked Anna. Who knew? Holding up his palm, Sheed gave Otto the signal to back off while he tried a new tactic. "Petey," Sheed said, "you know we'd do the Save Logan County thing a lot." "Sure, you guys are great. Thanks, but this is way over our heads. If you helped us and we fixed this time freeze mess, we couldn't take all the credit. We'd have to tell Mir Ahmed. He'd have to tell the guy who makes the keys to the city. That guy might have to..." She'd snapped his fingers as if a new thought popped into his head. "Otto, where did they get the metal to make the keys to the city?" "Mr. Archie?" Petey nodded. "I remember helping with the order the last time that happened. I did the engraving. It was a key for the Ellison girls." Otto scowled. "How big was it?" She'd slugged him in the shoulder. "However big it was, the key that they make for this adventure is bound to be the biggest of all. It would have to be to fit all 3 of our names on it." Petey perked up. 3 names? "If you help us, your name goes on the key, too. You couldn't engrave it yourself, though. It's bad luck. Who else at the store does engraving?" "Anna." Petey's voice was light and dreamy. She's great at engraving. She's great at everything." That might have been the first positive thing they'd ever heard him say. "There you go. If you help us, when we get to the key to the city, Anna can engrave all our names on it. Heck, yours might be the biggest name she engraves. You could even keep the key here in your workshop." "I don't know about all that," Otto said. She'd punched him again. The key was less important than the recognition, or rather, who would be recognizing Petey? And as observant as Otto was, how did he not see the total crush Petey had on Anna Archie? How much other obvious stuff had he missed? Sheed's fast talk pulled the dour clerk to their side. Petey left his bench and tore one of his strange schematics off the corkboard wall. "If you guys want to take a picture of that Mr. Flux, I think I have a way to make him stand still." Otto, Sheed, and Time Star gathered around, eyeing Petey's design. "What is it?" Otto asked. Petey said, "You never heard of fly paper?" Everyone nodded. "So imagine the fly is really big."